Hello, welcome or welcome back here on my channel. I'm Danilo and I'm back from my little summer break. So, today I wanted to talk about the tarot in a different way. This is a sort of a new series here on my channel, and I decided to start with this system. So, this video is going to quickly say what we mean when we use the word tarot, at the very least, usually. So, quick history lesson. Playing cards start are born in China. They travel to Europe around the 1400s. During the 1400s, we have decks produced with a number of cards and a format that the tarot, as in the 22 major arcana plus a basically a regular kind of playing cards combined. And then in the 1700s it starts to be used as a divinatory tool. First, they are a game, so they are not born full of mystical and esoteric meaning. They are a game that then gets like is is used for divination, and from there they start to be studied and redrawn and remade. And so we have the decks with the symbology and the little like connotations of Western occult and esoteric schools, specifically the Judeo-Christian side of the occult, so Kabbalah and that basically that branch of magic and esoteric philosophies. But what I want to say very quickly again is what a tarot is from a technical, physical side. So we usually talk about cards. Nowadays we have also other forms such as coins or little plaquettes or charms, but they are born as cards. And as a divinatory system, and before that as a game, they are based on 78 archetypes, 78 symbols, and that's the base. Now, nowadays we have lesser cards, maybe because we have a deck that's majors only, or we have a deck that only has the 56 cards of the minors, and in some of them you have illustrations and symbols, so you can read those specific cards as majors as well. So you have all the 78 symbols and archetypes in a little bit more limited number of cards. And also we sometimes have bigger decks, like in this case we have two extra majors. They are more than the regular 22, so you can choose to read them as well, or you can just decide to keep them in their box and use the 78 traditional ones for your readings. In other situations we may have multiples of the same majors, mostly. Sometimes it happens with minors as well, and you have changes about the gender of the characters or how it's depicted depending on the system that that deck is based on, or based in, sorry. So you can have multiples, but it's specific to every single deck if it's a situation where you can use all of them, or if you have to choose between two or more options for a single card, for a single archetype, for a single arcana. So, again, standard tarot size deck, standard tarot, complete tarot is 78 cards, 22 majors, 56 minors. The minors are divided in 4 suits, numbers 1 to 10, and then 4 core cards for each of them. And when it comes to the systems, you have basically 3, which are the oldest and which are the most traditional ones. So we go from the Marseille kind of decks to the Rider-Waite-Smith to the Thoth. Basically, the first difference is that from the Marseille to the Rider-Waite-Smith and then the Rider-Waite-Smith to the Thoth, there is an increment of symbology. Basically, they visually become more and more esoteric and occult, again always in that Christian and Hebrew religions based occult and esoteric mythology and symbolism and philosophy. So again, alchemy, Kabbalah, Neoplatonism, that sort of branch of the pagan, occult, esoteric world. I'm not sure how you distinguish between the various branches within the various areas of our world, so I'm trying to be the most comprehensive I can be. Visually also there is a change in the minors, so both the traditional Thoth, this is the traditional Thoth, and the Marcel decks have pips as minors, so just like in the playing cards, you have a repetitions of the symbols which represent the suits. So if you have a 7 of wands, you have 7 sticks of some kind, while in the Rider-Waite-Smith you have characters and situations even in the minors, so you have scenic minors. Also, there is a difference in how you read them. The traditional meanings of every card are different because both the Rider-Waite and the Thoth decks are based again in schools of magic, in existing philosophies of the esoteric and occult variety. So of course those teachings and those values are translated and basically imprinted on the cards, while a Marseille style of deck is more its own thing. Now, these are the 3 basic systems. You also have those that read numerologically, so they combine the areas of our lives connected to the elements of the 4 suits to the meaning of the numbers. So it's something else. There are those who change the way they read depending on the decks. If it is a Marcel or if it is a Rider-Waite-Smith, they read them differently. And then you have something like this with the Dulac Tarot, where you have a curated deck. So the illustration, the artwork for every card, it's not produced to be on a card. It's the work of an artist or multiple artists that worked and made their own thing, and the creator of the deck goes and chooses the images and makes the connections inside that painting, on that photograph or whatever it is, represents their idea of that tarot card. So you can read them also as a more of a storytelling sort of way, without really needing to refer to the systems, any of the systems. Of course, then there is all uh, the topic of intuition and connecting with energy and the guides and all of that, but it's a little bit off topic. I want to talk about how they present themselves today. So, when it comes to the artwork, when it comes to the kinds of deck you can find, so we have here a regular tarot deck. It's the smaller kind, but the artwork is the traditional one. As I said, we can have a curated sort of deck, so a single artist or multiple artists, and a connection that is decided by the creator of the deck, even if you do not have any traditional representation of the arcana in that specific deck, because those illustrations were taught and produced for other things. Then you have just revamping the artwork. So the creator has or the artist that works with the creator of the deck has their own style. They reproduce the standards or the traditional decks in their own styles. So it's more on a stylistic side, the difference. Or this case as well, you also have cultural differences. So like tarot are born in Europe, in Italy, during again the 1400s, and then in the 1700s they start to be used as divination tool again in Europe. So of course there's a bunch of white people. In this case, again, we have a bunch of white people, but for example, this is an Eastern European kind of take on the tarot. So the characters, the places look different from the traditional ones, and this can be applied to any other sort of geographical area, kind of ethnicity and culture. So there's a difference in that as well, without deviating too much from a traditional sort of representations of the cards. Then you have something that's thematic. So for example, the mythical creature tarot, you have mythical creatures from mostly European folklore and legends and fairy tales as the major arcana and the core cards, because again this is a peepish deck, so we do not have characters and scenes in the other minors. Or we have something like this, which is of course based on a movie, therefore you have to go and take every major or at the very least recognizable character from the movie and then place them in the cards. And of course someone sees that character more as the Hierophant, someone sees them more as the Magician or more as the Emperor. So it gets very personal, it gets very subjective, and not a single deck can please everybody for whatever reason. But especially nowadays we have all sorts of differences and options and changes and adaptations and expansions and themes and everything. So go look at what you like, find what you like, experiment. I'm not telling you to collect a plethora of decks if you are beginning or if you just want to find the deck you are going to read with. But if you do not like a deck that you've been gifted to, your first deck, and so you have a problem reading with it, or if you bought one of the older ones, traditional ones, and you do not connect that much to that artwork. If you are still deciding how to start when it comes to what I should buy as my first tarot deck, look on the internet, look on basically all sorts of, of catalogs online, look at your library, find names, look through social media, see everything that nowadays is at our disposal, and then make a choice. So, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and I see you next week. Bye!